In this lecture, we are going to see about what is VLSI and chip design. Before entering into the topic, the learning objectives are: first of all, we are going to see about what is an IC. Next, history of an IC. Third one, what is a transistor. Transistor, we know there are various types, and one by one we are going to see. First, we are going to see about BJT, next MOSFET and CMOS. Then fourth one, we are going to see about how this everything happens, that is by Moore's law. And fifth one, we are going to see about level of integration chips, that is how the chips are integrated in a single circuit. So we are going to see about how the levels of integration. Next, sixth one, we are going to see about VLSI circuits and its applications. So these are the learning objectives we are going to see in this lecture video. Before entering into the topic, we have to know what is an IC. We already know what is an IC. It is nothing but an integrated circuit, that is sometimes called as a chip or microchip. It is a semiconductor device on which thousands or millions of tiny resistors or capacitors and transistors are fabricated. So, this is an IC. We are just integrating the chip in a single circuit, that is called as an IC, and the diagram for that IC is given below. Next, we are going to see about what is history of IC. Before IC, there came a Jack Kilby, was an American electrical engineer, built the first integrated circuit flip-flop with two transistors. We already know what is flip-flop. Flip-flop is nothing but just used to store the information, that is store the binary data, that is called as an flip-flop and registers. So this Jack Kilby, an American electrical engineer, built the first integrated circuit, that is with two transistors. During the first half of the 20th century, the electronic circuits which we are using is very large and also very expensive, power hungry and reliable vacuum tubes. We already know that the computer which was first produced will be in a size of room size. Okay, after that, day by day the size of the computer has been reduced slowly. Similarly, the size of the integrated circuit is also very large, and day by day it has been reduced slowly. So we are going to see about this. Next, in 1947, John Barton and Walter Barton built the first functioning point contact transistor at Bell Laboratories. This functioning point contact transistors at the Bell Laboratory, which was built, is shown in the figure, and it is also the size of this transistor is very large. So this is the disadvantages in that. So after 10 years, Jack Kilby at Texas Instrument realized the potential for miniaturization if multiple transistors could be built on one piece of silicon. That is, in after 10 years, Jack Kilby just reduced the size of the transistor. Multiple transistor can be built in a single chip, and also the size of the transistor is reduced to a whole 10. Okay, that is the size, how the size of the transistor has been begun. And the next one, we are going to see about what is a transistor. We already know transistor is an electrically controlled switch with a control terminal and two other terminals that are connected or disconnected depending on the voltage or current applied to the control. So it is nothing but controls the current or voltage flow in addition to amplifying and generates the electrical signal. That is, it will be acting as a switch or gate. And it was first invented during 1960, and there are various generations of the IC. It is followed by the IC invention in 1960. And the next one is, we are going to see about early integrated circuits. Primarily, we are using only BJTs, that is bipolar junction transistors are used. In bipolar junction transistors, it requires only a small current into the control, that is base terminal, to switch much larger current between the other two terminals, that is emitter and the collector terminals. So this is the diagram of the, sorry, this is the symbol of the BJT. BJT consists of two types, that is PNP BJT and NPN BJT. In PNP BJT, depending upon the input current, we are producing the output. Output is collected in the collector. The next one is the quotient power dissipated by these base current limits the maximum number of transistors that can be integrated into a single die. The next thing we are going to see about MOSFET. What is the main disadvantages in BJT is the power consumption, or the size of the BJT is more. So in order to reduce this, we came for a BJT, that is metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors. It is called as an MOSFET. MOSFET offer the compelling advantages that are draw almost zero control current while idle. They come into two flavors, that is NMOS and PMOS, using N type and P type silicon respectively. And it mainly has the symbol of the MOSFET as shown in the figure. In N channel MOSFET, the drain, gate and source is there, and similarly in P channel MOSFET there is a drain, gate and source. And the next one, we are going to see about how in 1963 Frank Wellness at Fairchild described the first logic gates using the MOSFET. This Fairchild gates used both NMOS and PMOS transistors, earning the name as complementary metal oxide semiconductor or CMOS, because in NMOS or PMOS there is a disadvantages. If we are using NMOS alone, there is a disadvantages. What is the disadvantages means? The power consumption is major issue when we are using NMOS alone. And what is the disadvantages in PMOS means? It suffered from poor performance. That is, the performance which we obtained from PMOS is very poor, and also the yield is also very poor, reliability is also very poor. So in 1963, Frank Walnes at Fairchild described the first logic gates using MOSFET. That is, he just combined both NMOS and PMOS, and he named that as an complementary metal oxide semiconductor or CMOS. In this way, the CMOS entered into the VLSI company. And the next one, we are going to see about level of integration chips. In 1950, it is the integration level is very small, so it is called as an small scale integration. Here the number of transistors which are used in a chip is less than 100, and in 1960 it just increased between 100 to 1000, that is 100 to 1000 transistors are used in, and it is called as a medium scale integration. And in 1970 it is just became to large scale integration, that is LSI, and the number of transistors used here are between 100 and 1000, large scale integration. Next came our VLSI, that is in 1980 very large scale integration VLSI emerged. The number of transistors used in a chip in VLSI is between 10,000